spearhead our cause.
Just joined us, you're still on to Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's get to our conversation for today. Today, Nigerian workers mark May Day under the shadow of economic despair, not celebration. With rising hardship and declining wages, many workers have been plunged deeper into poverty. The Nigerian Labour Congress NLC laments that the past year under the current administration has been nothing short of brutal for workers, marked by one anti-labour policy after another.
NLC President Joe Ajaero described the situation as a deepening divide between the haves and the have-nots. According to him, capitalist policies have not only impoverished workers but stripped dignity from labor. The state, once expected to protect its citizens, now acts as an agent of exploitation, enforcing neoliberal policies dictated by Bretton Woods institution.
Despite this, the NLC remains defiant. The labor movement, Ajaero said, has stayed united in its push for justice, securing a 70,000 naira minimum wage, though implementation remains patchy. As some states flout the law, the fight continues, not just for full enforcement, but for wage increases to match the brutal cost of living.
Workers are urged to rise, organize, and resist. Liberation won't be handed down, it must be seized. The call is clear, no more cramps. It's time to demand a fair share of the bread workers bake.
Very true, it's time to demand the bread that workers bake. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, workers bake the bread, but are totally asked not to partake in eating the bread. That's the situation we found ourselves. But let's get talking. We still have Barrister Tunji Abdul Hamid. Thank you so very much, Barrister, for being back. We truly do appreciate you once more.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Barrister. Yes. So let's get talking. Let's even start with the minimum wage. When the discussion on the minimum wage was still going on, it was agreed. The NLC started from 400 and something thousand. They went down to 70,000, which they agreed. And just after that, at that time, I would love to believe, fuel price was 400 naira. After they concluded on 70,000 naira, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu hiked the price pump of fuel, that's PMS, from 400 to about 700 to 800 naira. Joe Ajaero said that he was deceived by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Right now, what do you think the Nigerian Labour Congress should be talking about now, if you were in their shoes?
I think I have always been one of those who don't believe in the issue of that labor should be fight, or labor questions should be only about a minimum wage or maximum wage. It should be about enabling environments. If the environment is enabled, the issue of minimum wage or whatever will not be an issue. The right minimum wage will be paid because there will be enough money. People will be able to work and government will make more money. But we have a system whereby everybody is on his own. They are fighting for themselves. The TUC and NLC are fighting only for the in the interest of the workers. You know, I said jokingly that time that when you say workers A and there's no employers A, and somebody argued with me and say no, it includes employers that employers are also workers. When you are talking about minimum wage now, do you talk any about minimum wage for the employers? Do you talk about what to be given to those who are employed? So what I'm saying is that labor, even though I agree that they have no much to do at, they can't do more than what they did at that time because they've been blackmailed by the government, and the people who are supposed to even give them the backing are not giving them the backing. I understand. Rightly so, because people who are no longer have confidence in the labor. Labor will be able to achieve their objectives if they know that they have the backing of the people. But still today, there is no backing of the people. They can't call people out for strike or for anything that will force government to adhere to their request because people will not answer. So, and as long as people will not answer,
if I may ask, why do you think Why do you think they do not have the backing of the people? Well, can you expatiate more on this?
I'm saying that the people, lack of trust, because people before now, people have seen them as people who are not serious. For instance, this particular under this particular government, about 3 or so times now, they will tell you we are starting strike next tomorrow. In the middle of the night, a day to the side, they will come and say we have been promised.
Call it off.
As if there was no promise before then. As if they were not promised yesterday, that was failed. So they will have been promised, and then they will say we are suspending the strike.
But Barrister, don't you think that is not a gentleman way of approaching a situation? Must we fight every time just before we get results that we need?
No,
Can people dialogue
that's not a fight. NLC is a pressure group. That's putting pressure on the government. You see, the problem we have in this country is that once you are saying things that is against the government, or you are taking steps that the government sees as being against them, they see you as enemy, or you are fighting. No. But those who are supporting the policy of government are patriotic. And those who are criticizing are also patriotic. But they are taking different positions. Then what we see in our country is that once your position is not in line with the government's interest, you are a hater of the country, or hater of the person in position. So that's the issue, and that is the blackmail they give to the Labour. They even say they are working for a particular party. So they were blackmailed, and Nigerians who are supposed to ignore and say, even if they are working for a particular party, this thing they are asking for is correct. And if some Nigerians will join them and say, don't mind them. They are Labour Party member. They are working for this and that. They are they are opposition. They blackmail, they divide them, and they don't have. In fact, there was a time the TUC president will be going this way. The NLC president is going this way.
Going the other way.
NLC president will say we are going on strike. TUC will say we are not joining them. So there is no consensus. There is no concrete. For me, as far as I'm concerned, Labour has been pushed to a position, or they push themselves to a position where it will be difficult for them to even achieve anything from the government. This is the same Labour that while discussing the minimum wage, you ask for 600 thousand naira. You push. At the end of the day, you are giving 70. And on the day you have been promised 70,000 naira, you are raising hands for the president. You are singing a solidarity song or support song for the president. 650,000 naira, 70,000 naira. And for those people who are naive, or who want to mislead us, or who are mischievous, will tell you, we have to. Don't you see that the governors are making more money and they should be able to pay the minimum wage? Let's even assume they are paying the minimum wage, 70,000 naira. Tell me, the 30,000 naira before that 70,000 naira, do they have the same value? I tell you, I prefer to, if they ask me whether to go back to an era where we are buying, where we are taking 30,000 naira minimum wage, and we are buying fuel for 120 naira. Yes. We are buying bag of rice for 7,000 naira.
We are buying like paying Peter to rob. I would prefer to go
to that regime than say let's collect 70,000 naira and increase fuel pump and do this and that. We are creating more hardship. The Labour should be fighting how government will enable environment. I will say that look, Labour is not for everybody. We are making mistakes in this country. Labour, they are not for us, for every Nigeria. They are for people. They are for their members alone.
But their members. Yes, but Barrister, you agree with me that their members are equally. They have wires to every other part of the society. So if the Labour Party is championing the cause, they are not just doing it for their members, they are doing it for Nigerians, because every Labour. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Labour Union, Labour Party.
Sorry, yes, the Labour Union, yeah, rather. So when they are championing a cause, they're actually doing it not just for themselves, but for Nigerians, because every member of the Labour Union is connected to the society. So don't you think so?
I don't think so. The last time when they fought and they obtained minimum wage, how much is my own minimum wage as an employer? What did they got for me from the president? They only, in fact, they are only interested in people who work for government. Majorly. TUC, NLC are interested majorly on people who work for government. And that's why they talk about minimum wage.
Don't forget, we know they are particular about people who work for the government, but don't forget that there are some states that are majorly, civil servant states. That.
And then not working for government. Civil servants are working for government. They are government workers, and that's their major concern. So what I'm saying is that, look, as long as labor focus, the focus of labor is about minimum wage, because that's the only thing they will fight for and collect. We will not move forward. It should not be only about minimum wage. And as long as we are waiting for labor to be the one to spearhead our cause, we won't move forward, because labor, once they get their minimum wage, they leave you and move on.
Barrister, do you think Joe? Yes. Do you think Joe Ajaero? Oh yeah, I would love you to finish with your thoughts. Just before I ask my next question.
No, it's gone already. Just continue.
All right.
I thought it's gone.
All right, beautiful. I wanted to ask Barrister, do you think Joe Ajaero is a good negotiator? Because if we take a look at the Nigerian Labour Congress with Adams Oshomole in the Fourth Republic, at the beginning of the Fourth Republic from 1999, Adams Oshomole was one man that really dealt with the government of President Olusegun Obasanjo. It was a definition of the pressure group that you rightly said. So the question is this a function of not having an Adams Oshomole typified kind of person running the NLC? Or is it just that the NLC has been bought over by the government and therefore is spineless?
All of the above. I don't want to compare the two, because the circumstances are not the same. The environment where Adam Oshomole operated is not the same thing as today. Oshomole, they were given opportunity to do their job. As today, they are not being given opportunity to do their job. And you know that for months ago, Joe Ajaero is being pursued by the government for leading protests.
So what is the reason? What is the reason behind this? Should I call it taken for granted or not having them being heard? Because you said it's not. You're saying compare. You don't want to compare them because no, the
government are not the same. The government under which Oshomole operated, they gave them free hand to operate. They respect their rights. The right is not being respected today.
Why?
Because the government is operating like a military administration.
Oh, okay.
They are being like there is no law. That what the law is what
in
they think is law.
In other words, you say we do not operate in rule of law anymore. No, there's no longer supremacy before the law.
They are not following the law, because today you will speak about government, you correct the government, or you speak about what government is not doing well. They see you as person who's promoting the country negatively.
How do we correct this?
They see you as abusing. You talk about what the government is not doing well. For instance, now you say the office of the first lady is not known to law. The first lady is there illegally, or the IGP is there illegally. They will pursue you to want to arrest you, saying you are calling the IGP an illegal police officer.
Barrister, so how then do we correct this? Where do we go from here?
It is very difficult. Jane, that question is difficult for me to answer. The system has been bastardized. It appears we have all agreed, and that's why you see the governors. They are moving to the ruling party because they have also succumbed. So we cannot those who are supposed to be the one to fight and ensure that this is not entrenched. They are just looking for a way out. They are not doing anything. So the day we all forget our selfish interests, the day we all forget our sentiments, the day we all don't see ourselves as a Muslim, Yoruba, Hausa, or Christian, or Igbo, the day we all want to speak in a voice that not all of us cannot speak in one voice. The majority of us will see the wrong thing and say this is wrong, this is wrong. We will not justify it because we love that person, or but because we are in that party, or because that person is from my place.
Barrister, sorry. Do you think? I beg your pardon. Do you think that this can be, achievable if we don't have enforcement of law. I mean,
that's what I'm
being able to implement this law.
If those that we enforce are not doing the right thing, fear you people. They no longer fear you. They are not afraid of you again. In fact, you are even afraid of them as people. And you know what they say? The day the government don't fear the people again, or I can't remember the actual quote. That is the day the trouble started. So today, the government is supposed to be fearing the people. But the fact is the case today. It is the people that are fearing the government. The day the those in government are behaving as if they are the alpha and omega, and they must do what they want to do, whether you like it or not. So, and that's why they will bring out policy. The Nigerians will complain that this policy is hard. They will say whether you like it or not, it cannot be passed. You see, as a government, even when you are in government and you think you have brought out a policy that you think is good for the people, and people that you brought it out for are saying we don't want it, you must reverse it. The Labour have been, to an extent, and that's what I'm saying, they've allowed the Nigerian system to enter their body. They are also being compromised. They also sometimes being timid. Sometimes, and I don't blame them. If they are picked up down and sent to prison, Nigeria will not stand up for them. Nigeria, some people will say it's good for him. His wallet is too much. Now you're in there. So if you know that people, there are people, people are ready to go to prison if their leader is arrested.
Yeah.
But today, the leaders of Labour will be arrested, nothing will happen. We'll just be there. Everybody will just move on. We'll move on and start thinking of who will be the next Labour leader. So they are being careful as well to say, look, and that's why I say, if they have the backing of the people, if they are aware that the people will give them the required support, they will be bold to do what you think they cannot do. But today, they don't have that confidence. Not thanks to them, anyway. Not because they've not given the people the confidence to be able to trust them and align with them. Because some people, majority of Nigerians see them as using Nigerians to make business. They just that when they call off out for strike and they go for negotiation, they go and negotiate for their own personal interest and get something out of it. So until they change that narrative or they change that perception, they won't be able to lead anybody to anywhere. So and until they are able to change that perception, that's when Nigeria will be able to give them that support. And that's when they will be able to achieve what they want to achieve. As it is today, both the Labour, the people, and the government are not doing the right thing. And all of us are not. If all of us are not doing the right thing, we can't get the right results. So we're not getting the right result today because we are not doing the right thing. Labour, it will be difficult for Labour. If you expect that Labour will achieve anything for you, you are deceiving yourself. They won't be able to achieve anything. Even if they say we should go on strike tomorrow, even if they say nothing will happen, and the people, government is aware of that already, and because of that, government is not bothered whenever they threaten to go on strike. So for me, Labour should be more focused on ensuring that look, the environment is enabled. They should stop this issue of they should not wait till May 1st to hear their grievances. Where are they waiting? They are waiting. They have been waiting all this while. They know all these things are happening. They didn't take steps. They are now waiting for May 1st to now come and address it and talk about it today at their podium or whatever. And after they depart, that is the end of it. It stops there. Nothing more.
But barrister
and Nigerians who are supposed to on their own take their case in their hands are not doing so. They are waiting for Lawyer Tuji, an activist. They are waiting for Labour Union. They are waiting for opposition party to come and fight for them. And then they will be sitting in their houses, enjoying themselves. So until the day all Nigerians believe that, look, this is our responsibility. We need to rise up. That is the day the government will change. As long as we are doing what we are doing today, it will remain the same. It may even get worse.
Very, very true, barrister. You actually have concluded on everything, because I wanted to ask you a question on the responsibility of Nigerians in ensuring that the Nigerian Labour Congress does not work efficiently? Because sometimes when the NLC decides to go for a strike, Nigerians would come up and say they want to cause more harm, that more people will die as a result of that. And maybe because of those voices, the NLC sometimes would pull back on the things they are supposed to do. But of course, you've said it very, very lucidly here.
You are right. You are right. Yes. One of the reasons why sometimes you see Labour give up. Because people they are fighting for, after 1 or 2 days, they will come out and say, this Labour, they are giving us, this is creating more hardship to us. So what kind of strike is this? This and that. So, and Labour will not say, look, we are fighting for you, you are complaining, so we cannot put more hardship on you. Let's call up the strike. It happens like that sometimes.
Very true, Barrister. But what do you think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should be doing right about now? Do you think he truly does care about Nigerian workers? If he does, what do you think he could do to ensure that Nigerian workers smile?
What do you mean by Nigerian workers? Care for Nigerian workers? Is the president in place to care only for Nigerian workers? And when I say Nigerian workers does not include certain people, you say it's everybody. You can see now.
No, because so I would love to believe that when the president does care, I mean...
Listen, by our constitution, the president has the responsibility to care for every Nigerian. The section 14.2 says that the welfare and security shall be the primary responsibility of the government. So by that, whether labor, whether you are a worker, whether you are not worker, whether you are, because we have in Nigeria today, we have even more youths that are not working, unemployed. Unemployed. So they have to cater for everybody. So we should not narrow it down to workers or anything alone. We should say the president has a responsibility.
Okay, I think a twist to that question will be. I think a twist to that question will be: what should the president be doing to alleviate the hardship of the general masses? Because it's been ongoing.
The president should listen to the people and work in the interest of the people. Today, the way I see the president, he's not working. He's not concerned about governance. It's about politics. It's about winning the next election. It's about bringing more people into his fold and having the control as the overall controller of the country. So the president should govern, do the right thing, listen to people. All the policies, the major policies of the government that have been introduced, create more hardship rather than a solution. The problem started when the president came on board and said subsidy is gone. And then immediately thereafter, he announced the issue of a devalued naira. Those two policies are the ones that brought us to where we are today. That the government to government, they are enjoying it because they are making more money. And their own concern is about money. And that's why I say government is not about making money. Government is about the welfare of the people. Even when you make money and people are not enjoying the money, it becomes nonsense. So the policy of the government today, their own concern, the concern of the government is about making money. It's about giving themselves that luxury life. That's why you see them buying different car that is luxurious. Seeing themselves thinking about buying solar for Aso Rock, where most of our universities and the hospitals have been complaining of lack of electricity. The government did not understand or remember that solar can solve the problem. But now it affects Aso Rock. They now know that solar is a solution to that problem. You can see where the interests of those in government are. So the president should know that his responsibility is to provide for the welfare and security of the people. It is not about how many states he captured. It is not about how many people are moving from APC to PDP to APC. It should not be about I will win 27 landslide. It's a done deal. There is no vacancy. That should not be an issue now. But anyway, we are not surprised. Our president is about politics. And that is why you see, even before the 2023 election, the president did start his 2027 campaign, before the 2023 election. But I remember in Enugu also, he was here campaigning for the 2023 election, and he said, if I don't deliver on my promises, don't vote for me in 2027. So it shows where the interest of the president lies. It's not about governance. It's about retaining the position and work. And that's why the president is not getting that today. The government is just only working on his political ambition, not on governance. There is difference between governance and policy. Unfortunately, some Nigerians are praising it. They are praising and they are saying, you must know how to play politics. And you give it to the president. He knows the game. Did we call him to come and play game? He was elected to come and govern. So but what we celebrate is game. And we even call him the name master strategist in politics. Some people are even saying other politicians should go to his university of politics and go and learn how to play politics. They are not talking about governance. Nigerians who are supposed to be complaining are talking about he must play politics. In fact, some people are saying Governor Kubara should compromise the state interest in River State and go and apologize to Wike if he knows how to play politics. And give Wike whatever he needs. That is the kind of country that we are. So the president's responsibility, or those in government, their responsibility is about the welfare and security of the people. Until they realize this, we cannot move forward. Because as it is today, that is not in their agenda. They don't realize that they have a simple responsibility, welfare and security. They don't realize that. And what they realize is that we must continue to be in government. And that's what they're pursuing.
Very, very true, Barrister. This is so great, and it's so exciting that you are, clarifying some of these things, because Nigeria has been so divided that sometimes you see someone who should know better, speaking against something that he should be the best person to clarify, and it is not. There used to be a time, Barrister, when General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida was called the political Maradona. Because he understood how to play. Yes, how to manipulate. But of course, yes, everyone was supporting the political Maradona. Unfortunately, the political Maradona has come to apologize to Nigerians that he's actually very sorry with the book that he wrote. So which means the Maradona thing. Yes.
And what happens? Nothing.
Nothing happens.
It just brings us to knowing that Nigerians are not involved in government.
Once you do anything that's not correct, and years after you come to apologize, people they will take it and nothing will happen again. Then you enjoy to be free to do anything you want to do today, and say after I'll apologize to them, or even after leaving government, become a government critic, and people will be following me and supporting me. That's what we see in the country today.
Very, very, very sad.
So sad.
So sad. Thank you so very much, Barrister. We truly do appreciate your time. And we wish that the United Nations will create a day for employers of labor, because you truly do deserve it. It's not easy, actually. Every employer of labor in Nigeria should be given an award, really. Because running a business right now in Nigeria
is not easy. I want to ask how you're even surviving with the state of economy. Because, I'm sure all employer of labor, they always hate the end of the month.
It's killing. I'm telling you, the bill has increased. Times 4, is it times 4, times 5 now? A cycle where you use 15,000 to fill up now. Today is about 100,000 naira. Electricity that you spend like 10, 20,000 a month. You spend like 250,000 a month now. Can you? We are not even talking about salary now.
Exactly.
I'm not talking about that thing.
Very, very true, Barrister.
We can just imagine.
Yes, we can truly do relate with you. That's just about the time we have. Thank you so very much, Barrister. We truly do appreciate you once more.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be with you. Enjoy your day.
Thank you so very, very much.
You too.
Jane, it's an interesting one we had with Barrister today.
It's a whole lot.
It's a whole lot,
he was able to just hit the nail
on the head on lots of matters there.
Quite thought-provoking.
Yes.
I'm sure everyone watching will wonder. The state at which we are in Nigeria right now, it's sickening, and having to know that, okay, what is the solution?
Well,
he mentioned, we all having to do the right thing, because no one is exempted in this regard when it comes to corruption and, not doing the right thing. So how then? And then not being unified.
Yes.
Enough this tribalism, it's this, it's
ethnicity, religious divide. Yes,
it's a whole lot.
It's a whole lot.
It has eaten so deep into the fabric of our nation.
But of course, we hope Nigeria, well, as good patriots, we continue to pray for Nigeria and hope that Nigeria would be a better place for everyone. That's just about the time we have. We'd love to say thank you for being a part of it. We truly do appreciate you once more. But please do well to visit us if you may. You can always find and reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry Igwebike.
And I am Jane Aina.
Thank you so very much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Folks, we are back on the beat, and what do we do? On Homo Politicus, we give context and clarity to issues raised by my country, your country. Today, after fits and starts, Port Harcourt refinery resumes crude oil processing. But is it yet Uhuru? You know, for an oil-producing country that avoidably tottered on the brink of an energy crisis, the news that the Port Harcourt refinery had resumed crude oil processing is one that's received with foreboding. After all, a planned revival of our ailing refineries had come in fits and starts. Yes, the relieving news is that the Port Harcourt refinery has resumed operations, and therefore truck loading of petroleum products commenced on Tuesday, November 26th. To the uninformed, this is likely to ease anxiety regarding products availability. But can it be said to be Uhuru yet? Industry experts are hard put to give a straightforward answer, straightforward yes to this. Considering that the Port Harcourt refinery has a capacity for refining 60,000 barrels of crude oil per day, and for a country of over 200 million people, that's a tiny drop in the ocean. But if by a miracle, the second Port Harcourt facility and the Warri refinery return to capacity production, then we can be sure of a reprieve. If the usual Nigerian lethargic way of doing things come into play here, I dare think we would be a long, long way from safe anchor. Let's go there. Aki Fatunke is here. Aki is a chartered accountant, a national affairs analyst, but worked in the oil industry for years. So he's an expert here. Great to have you, Mr. Fatunke. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Citizen Jones. Always a pleasure to be here.
And of course, Akin is joined by the personable Cyril Abaku. Cyril Abaku, a broadcaster and communications expert. Cyril, welcome one more time.
Very happy to be here.
I'd rather, Cyril, we started from your home base. The refinery is, as they say in the common everyday parlance, for your domot, so to say.
If indeed the Port Harcourt refinery has, which geographically speaking more accurately, is located partly in Okreka and partly in Alesa Ileme, which was even the name it was given initially, Okreka Ileme refinery. So if indeed the refinery on home soil is back able to discharge refined products from its bladder, it's a beautiful thing. It's welcome news. We want to, especially because this came on the back of several unmet deadlines and frankly failures. Last December they said the refinery was 95% complete and that it was the engineers were going on Christmas break, which I found very dubious.
They kept pushing it,
which was very dubious because people who were in the industry said we shouldn't expect anything even this year. You know, I mean, this was not December, but they said that even right up to the end of this year, we shouldn't, because the reality was that the NLC didn't resist federal government when they wanted to sell off the refineries. I think on Obasanjo, they said those refineries were as good as scrap, that they should just sell them off. We were saying no, but even the labor unions didn't.
Well, why would you sell a scrap?
No,
who would want to buy a scrap?
That is to say, okay, good. So, but it was the reason just to let you know the NLC didn't fight the federal government when they wanted to sell it off. So, but when President Bola Tinubu came on board and there were attempts to revive it, we wanted to see you never say no. You know, you have to give the benefit of possibilities, and that was what we did. Now, we don't know on what advice the federal government kept on giving those deadlines it gave, but it is good news. It is sharing news. If today, now the government, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, a week ago, we didn't hear them say expect us to roll out petrol and so day. This all came suddenly in one day. They just said as of Tuesday this week.
Otherwise, they kept you and me guessing.
Ostensibly so. And so yesterday they came up and said petrol is ready. You guys come and offtake. The marketers are the ones we're now looking at. Have they been able to access petrol? Have they been able to offtake? Okay. From being 95% mechanically ready last year, about a year later, we're now hearing that the refinery will only be able to produce about 70% of its capacity, which is okay.
Serial better late than never. So
we're on the same page, and so but we want to see what comes out and how that goes.
Yeah, Mr. Fatunke, to the layman, the question remains: is it Uhuru yet?
Thank you for that question. It can't be Uhuru yet. It can't be Uhuru, but I slant to my brother Cyril, who says thank you, who says thank God. So we thank you, we thank God. As I always say, when you see a bottle that is half filled, I still say it is half filled bottle, not half empty.
Half empty.
Okay, now in this wise, I see
polemics.
A bottle that is 1/4 filled, so it's still 1/4 filled bottle, even though by the time you take your gulp, it might not really satisfy.
1/4 full, 3/4 empty. Okay.
It cannot be Uhuru because for some umpteenth time, this government, perhaps the previous government, the APC government in short, have raised our hopes, have raised communications only for them to turn around, by the way.
To dash the hopes?
There's always turnaround maintenance.
Okay.
And they are not just dashed, they are embarrassingly dashed. Okay, so you tell us it is now working. The average Nigerian is saying out there, let me see it work. Because you make a communication today, tomorrow you now change the communication and then that you went for some photo ops. So that is number one. So in news, it can't be Uhuru. Because really, if I am hungry and you have as much as possible just giving me a morsel of bread, you expect me to say thank you. But really, it won't take me home. It won't take me home because as at the time you are juggling to give me that morsel, you had one in your right hand, which is the morsel you decide to give me, and you had the capacity to have on the other hand maybe a bigger slice of bread. And I was just wondering, why did you decide to give me a morsel when we are supposed to have that slice of bread? Cyril, you are so right. SLM refinery in the Okrika refinery. And what we have not been told is that when you communicate that a man is blind, okay, let's know if the two eyes are gone, or that if it's a one-eyed man and all that. I am not satisfied with the communication that has come because the Okrika refinery that we are talking about is 60,000 barrels per day. When we also have a Port Harcourt 2 refinery, which is double that capacity.
That capacity, yeah.
And a bit much more modern. Why did we go for the smaller one when we should have made two? So I am put on inquiry. Is it that the technology for
reviving,
is it going to be much more much more sophisticated, and going to cost us much more. Okay, I need to be explained. I need to be explained to. I would rather I was given that one slice of bread. Yes, still will not take me anywhere. And you decide to give me a morsel. Sir Jones, this trick that you're applying, broadcasting, communications, whether print or electronic, it's a science. I come here a number of times behind the scene. You do something for us. No, Akin, this is how it should be pronounced. This is because if you pronounce it one way or don't pronounce it well, it's education. For me, I have seen half-baked in the kind of communication theme that we have at all levels. That communication that came from NNPC tried to deceive us. Yes. It didn't tell us, because when you say Port Harcourt refinery is working, no. The communication is that one of the refineries, okay, right? One of the two, okay, you don't want to say that it's the bigger one should have gone to. One of the two has finally got light and started breathing. You didn't say that. When you say Port Harcourt refinery is working, it's like you want to deceive. You want to deceive by giving a muscle that I mentioned to you, and you want the whole world to feel that you've given me a sliced bread with sardines. So that is the second one. Now, economists also now then talk about the fact that whether it is one barrel that you can refine there, or whether it's 60, again, does that get to the bottom line of helping us in price reduction? The answer is clearly no. No. Because it is necessary.
Well,
but not sufficient. It can only happen if the present government in the new change agenda have decided that we are going to go for full deregulation, and we do it full deregulation, in which case that Port Harcourt refinery will help serve more of the people in that little
environment,
enclave. Okay, so Cyril is in that enclave. He lives in that enclave. I should expect that he should be able to buy a liter of fuel at a much lower than I will have to buy in Lagos. But when you now begin to now then want to swim and say that you are swimming in an ocean when you are swimming in a lake, this is the kind of thing
let me ask a layman's question here. If the two refineries at Port Harcourt, in addition to the one at Warri, resume production, would we have a reprieve?
If. Please, Sir Jones, don't take me there.
Okay.
Don't take me there, because I have been.
I'm asking my question on behalf of the man on the street.
I know. That question will want to take me into want to start to play the politics that I don't want to play. Can I say clearly, as an operator, and I'm expecting you, I'm expecting listeners, I'm expecting Cyril, I'm expecting the average person to begin to hurl stones at me. Yes. One, we have run those refineries to the ground.
Deliberately?
Deliberately. We stole them to the ground. Okay. Another way your question will be for you to ask me that we ran Nigerian Airways to the ground. It's now a carcass, and you now ask me, what if we now get one or two other planes and still put it in there? Will it still be able to? We've run it to the ground. That's number one. Number two, we run it to the ground, and those refineries that you have just mentioned, I'm saying this with pain. I wish I can say it otherwise. They are sitting on a bed of oil. Meaning, for you to really say you want to bring them back into the reality of producing to environmental friendly and what have you.
Reality of the now.
you will have to spend a lot of money down. Am I talking Gabriel share? No. President Obasanjo is still alive, and he just made a statement. People will look at that statement and say maybe he's trying to do sour grapes. He said, I tried to get those refineries to work. Well, Tinubu, I'll use the word May, but he said cannot succeed. He cannot succeed because he cannot succeed because those refineries are waiting for the necessary injection of capital. So President Obasanjo knew what he was saying, because very close to when he was leaving, he wanted to privatize. And arrangement had been made.
No, if he privatized, it would have been
He wanted to ask private capital to come and resuscitate the place. One came, I belonged to the other that came, and they made a pronouncement which was flashed in the newspapers. Seniors will remember that the value of that refinery that they wanted to give to ExxonMobil at that time is zero. Sell it for 0 naira.
I said it now.
And then okay. Now you are nodding. And then of course, the Labour Congress. No, it's not true. They rose in arms and all that. The consortium of Otedola and this Dangote, who had put in money, paid money, and then we now then said, no, you can't sell our assets that way. It's taking us to where we are at. The other refineries that we are competing with, example would be the Rotterdam refinery, one of the biggest in the world. The refinery business is not returning profit. In fact, when Dangote came in, they had to find a way to close down. So, but you are right to ask me that question, and I have to respect it, because when you are in a quagmire, when you are in a match, the best thing is not for you to just continue to jump.
They say when you are in a pit, the best thing is not to keep digging.
Okay, so in the very, very short term, okay, it's a palliative. So if those refineries begin to work, if may I have my doubts, then the ones we had, to make it worse, Nigeria, we have to wake up. Many people know what I'm saying. Every people know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Part of it is, you even mentioned Kaduna Refinery. Was Kaduna Refinery founded on any feasibility that you can talk about? Buhari, along the time he was living, talked about a Kolomani refinery. That's it. A lot of money is going in there. The question now is, how do we go? If a magic wand can be invoked and Alice in Wonderland can reverse so many things, I would say yes. But in the absence of that, we now have a refinery that was created by Citizen Jones. Okay, I'm talking about that Dangote now, and everybody is now fighting. It's a monopolist and all that. You've not done your own and all that kind of stuff. It will merely help, in my view, to serve as some competition. The Port Harcourt one refinery that has been refurbished now is not enough to serve as competition. For an oligopolist. An oligopolist is somebody who produces and decides how much he's going to sell.
Has about 460,000.
No, 650.
650,000.
Including petrochemicals. Including controls. Whereby you and I will not be buying contaminated fuel. But you and I know that. Made in Aba, you tell me something is made in Aba. If you put made in Aba, nobody wants to buy it. But if you now put made in China, everybody now rushes it. A mental.
Yeah, but there was also a time people couldn't buy made in China because of the stigmatization. And of course, and again, because of the verity of Chinese mediocrity yes.
There was a political will.
The Chinese were not sleeping.
They transmogrified, yes. They transmogrified. The reality of using the Aba analogy, just because I'm familiar with the Aba market ecosystem is the fact that Aba does produce some very good things.
Oh, yeah.
As a matter of fact, they produce in Aba, take it overseas to Turkey, and then re-import it. Not just Turkey, many countries of the world. And so, but I bring it back into the oil industry. I'm a bit worried.
So I don't forget, so it doesn't skip me now. Cyril, Mr. Fatunke talked about the Kaduna refinery. You know, it came out of pure political consideration.
Balance in federal character, balance.
Because that refinery at Kaduna was not meant to produce the PMS.
You know, if we want to go into the problems
it was to produce bitumen.
Bitumen, yeah.
But you still have to now pipe quite a number of things from here to there.
From source down to
now. Okay.
To Kaduna.
All right. So even if you decided that's what you wanted to do, you did not maintain.
No,
you left all those things out there. And as I'm speaking today, now we are talking about oil, fiscal, federalism. We still talk about the fact that certain things should not happen. But we are not of one tongue and one tribe, tribe to look at things straight in the and just say, look, you don't have factors of endowment in here. Where you have factors of endowment, that's where we can then decide to do trade. But in our own case, we have jettisoned common sense, and as far as we are concerned, how do you normally put it? Water on troubled oil, oil on troubled waters.
The common balance is, if you pour oil on troubled waters, mine is, what do you pour on troubled oil?
So now you have cited a Kaduna refinery. As at the time that came on, it was, I don't know if it was Uhuru. Now the whole thing is being run to the ground, and rather than find a way to
imagine a whole Bayelsa state. There's no refinery in Bayelsa.
And then what then did you do? You decided, you started to lie to yourselves that you found basins in the northeast or whatever it is, and we've been sinking
after spending
a lot of money,
after sinking millions of
and
dollars.
we have not gotten anything so far. Look, let's tell ourselves the truth. I just think back to the to the core subject. Please say it exactly as it is.
Yeah.
You have just made a minute, small step. Say exactly what it is.
Okay.
And don't make a political capital out of
we
it.
didn't mean to overburden you, because I know at a time like this,